ng Department of National Defense ang motibo at kredibilidad ng ilang grupo na naglabas ng impormasyon na binantaan umano ng ilang sundalo na gagahasain ang ilang babaeng taga Marawi. Ayon kay Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana, dubious o kaduda-duda ang naturang impormasyon. Anya, sumailalim daw sa gender sensitivity training ang mga sundalo. Hamon niya sa mga naglabas ng impormasyon, maglabas ng ebidensya at maghain ng kaukulang reklamo. Ayon pa kay Lorenzana, ang mga grupo ring ito ang nagbubulag-bulagan umano sa mga krimeng ginagawa ng CPP-NPA gaya umano ng pagnanakaw, pagpatay at panggagahasa. Wala pang sagot ang CPP-NPA sa pahayag ni Lorenzana. Inilabas ng DNT ang naturang pahayag matapos sabihin ni Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas na personal niyang narinig ang salaysay ng ilang babae sa evacuation center sa Lanao del Norte at Lanao del Sur tungkol sa mga sundalong nagbanta umanong gagahasain sila. Narinig din daw ito ni UP Professor Sara Raimundo sa pagsama niya sa isang humanitarian mission kamakailan. Sa isang forum, sinabi ni Raimundo na natatakot ang ilang evacuee sa banta umano sa kanila ng mga sundalo na gagahasain sila kapag di sumunod.
Kapwa naman binigyan diin ang sandatahang lakas sa Pilipinas at ng pambansang pulisya ang kahalagahan ng pagpapatupad ng batas militar o martial law sa Mindanao upang mapigilan ang mga grupong nais magasik ng kaguluhan. Sa harap na rin po ito ng patuloy na operasyon sa Marawi City kontra Maute Group. May report si Eunice Monte.
Bunsod ng sunod-sunod na pag-atake ng mga teroristang grupo sa mga inosenteng kababayan natin sa Mindanao, May 23, 2017, idineklara ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang batas militar sa buong Mindanao upang maprotektahan ang mga residente na walang awang pinahihirapan at pinapaslang ng mga terorista. Agad na pinutol ng Pangulo ang kanyang biyahe upang umuwi ng Pilipinas at harapin ang suliraning nilikha ng Maute Group at Abu Sayyaf sa mapayapang Marawi City. At sa ikisang buwan ng batas militar, aminado ang Armed Forces of the Philippines at Philippine National Police na malaki na rin ang inusad ng mga kaso at mas napadali ang pagkakaaresto sa mga terorista.
Ngayon, napakadali mag-issue ng arrest warrant against doon sa mga alam natin ng mga membro ng Maute. So yan, may basis tayo under martial law na pwede natin silang hulihin. So yun, napakadali pong gawin natin yan.
Kung si PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald Bato de la Rosa lang din naman ang tatanungin, aniya, malaking tulong ang deklarasyon ng martial law ng Pangulo sa sunod-sunod na pagkakaaresto ng miyembro ng pamilya Maute. Matatandaang nasa kustodiya na rin ng Bureau of Jail Management and Penology o BJMP ang ina ng Maute Brothers na si Omnita Maute o mas kilala bilang Farhana na financer ng terrorist group. Nauna na dito ay naaresto na rin ang ama ng Maute Brothers na si Kaya Mora sa isang checkpoint sa Toril, Davao nitong June 6. At nito lamang nakaraang linggo, naaresto naman ang babaeng kapatid ni Omar at Abdullah Maute sa Iloilo kasama ang dalawa pang hinihinalang miyembro ng Maute. Ang lahat ng ito ay matapos maaresto sa Cagayan de Oro ang bunso ng magkakapatid na si Muhammad Maute na isa namang eksperto sa paggawa ng bomba.
Kung walang martial law, walang arrest order against sa kanila, hindi natin basta-basta mahuli yun, lalo na wounded, di ba? Kahit na alam natin na wounded sila doon sa gira. We are empowered and we are more motivated to go after them.
Positibo naman ang Armed Forces of the Philippines na mas naiwasan ang pagkalat ng terorismo dahil sa batas militar.
What we're trying to do is we are preventing the possibility na mag-spread siya or mag-originate dun sa ibang areas na yun, yung mga reinforcement na tutulong pa doon.
Nakasaad sa Article 7, Section 18 ng 1987 Philippine Constitution na may karapatan ng isang Pangulo bilang Commander-in-Chief na magdeklara ng martial law na maaring tumagal ng 60 araw.
Ang tanong kasi, bakit sa buong Mindanao yung bakit hindi Marawi lang? So ito yung pagpapatunay na ang ating martial law implementation hindi pwedeng nakafocus lang sa Marawi, but also in other parts of Mindanao.
Inaasahan namang sa pakikipagtulungan at bukas na pag-iisip ng mga mamamayan sa batas militar, di magtatagal ay maibabalik na rin ang kapayapaan di lamang sa Marawi City kundi maging sa buong Mindanao. Para sa Bayan, Eunice Monte.
The fighting erupts again after the so-called humanitarian pause or the temporary suspension of the military offensive in Marawi City yesterday. The military says the enemy's resistance continues to weaken as the Maute group loses its hold on some members. Maute terrorists continue to destroy and set buildings on fire inside Marawi City a day after the humanitarian pause. That's according to the military as they monitor more arson activities in the 4 barangays still held by the group. Dansalan College, a Catholic school, is one of the first few structures held and burned down by the Maute group. Omar Maute, one of the leaders of the terrorist group believed to have died in the conflict, graduated high school here. Minalang Barapantao, who used to be Omar Maute's teacher, says he is heartbroken after learning that his former student initiated the violence in Marawi.
We were really shocked sa school na ganun yung mangyari at una pa nilang na biktima yung eskwelahan na nagpaaral sa kanila and yung mga teachers na tinuruan sila ng magandang asal.
Barapantao adds Maute was a regular student, very athletic, and a platoon officer of the school's CAT. He says they never once thought Maute would turn out to be a terrorist.
He's just the silent type, mabait, walang problema. Lahat kami ng mga naging teachers na we were shocked na ganito yung nangyari sa kanya. Pero going back to his high school years, he was a very conscientious student. And in fact, I didn't realize that I was the one who made the yearbook wherein he described himself as religious and conservative.
The military says Maute group's leadership is crumbling as others want to flee and some are starting to regret their decision to join the conflict, especially the Maranao fighters.
Marami dito ang nalure sa pera. Marami dito ang prinamis ng leadership na pera. And these are the promises. Ngayon, nagsisisi sila.
Authorities say religious leaders are amplifying their call for the terrorists to lay down their weapons.
Those involved Maute brothers are Maranao. And there is a huge clamor among the constituents of Maranao, our traditional leaders, our religious leaders, convincing these people to get out. Convincing these people to surrender.
35 days into the fighting, the military says the terrorist group is losing its positions, strategic movement and morale. But every single day the fight moves closer to the center of action is yet another day of further destruction, not only of physical structures, but also the Maranao culture and heritage. The military killed almost 300 Maute members while the government troops suffered 70 killed in action. Pia.
Camille, how are the clearing operations of the troops inside Ground Zero? Last information, Maute holding at least 4 barangays. What's happening?
The Maute group is still holding out in 4 barangays, but the government troops have already cleared 86 buildings and recovered 360 firearms, thousands of ammunitions, and hundreds of communication equipment. We are also receiving more reports of more Maute members trying to escape through Lake Lanao. In the past 2 days, there are unverified reports of 3 Maute members captured by the authorities. If you can remember, last week we reported on this. The government troops are reinforcing its water assets to guard Lake Lanao. Pia.
Camila Batisha there reporting from Iligan City. Reports received by the military say supposed ISIS leader in the country, Isnilon Hapilon, has left the Maute group in Marawi City. Speaking to the source, Armed Forces Public Affairs Office Chief Edgar Arevalo points out reports from the sources indicate most of them have not seen Hapilon lately.
We have report that shows or says that Isnilon Hapilon, the touted emir of ISIS in the Philippines, has already abandoned his people. So this indicates somehow that their defense or their leadership and their command and control is already collapsing due to the intense pressure that our government forces are now letting them experience.
So when you say that Isnilon Hapilon has abandoned the group, so he's already out of Marawi?
We have those reports that indicate that because we monitor them according to our sources on the ground and from those who we have rescued, and most of them were not quite able to say they saw Isnilon Hapilon lately. So these are some indicators that he has abandoned his people.
Arevalo adds during the humanitarian pause yesterday, Maranao leaders had rare access to remaining mountain strongholds and spoke with its leaders to convince them to free their hostages and surrender.
There were 8 of them actually, to include these are imam, respected religious leader, and to include one alias Bin Laden. He called us Bin Laden. Is being respected by the group. He was able to speak to Abdullah. The information that we got was that this group were trying to convince the leaders of the Maute ISIS group to surrender and set free the civilians they're still holding hostage up to that time. But with regard to how it went out and it finally turned out, we are not quite privy about it yet. Right now, what we still have, Ruth, are estimates. They were saying that it is around 100 to 120 still. And what is quite disturbing and making it more challenging on the part of the Armed Forces of the Philippines was the reported use of these civilians as workers. One thing is somehow a good news, a welcome development or welcome news, if we could say, was that reports coming from those who were able to rescue that Father Chito is still alive.
You can catch a replay of that full interview tonight at 7:30. My last question, sir, dahil we understand you cannot identify the negotiators, yung mga emisaryo po, pero we understand also that, and we are sure that they were speaking to the Maute leadership, hindi po yung mga underlings, no, ang kinausap. So which Maute brother were they talking to? Was it Abdullah or Omar? Because
they were able to
reports that
connect
Omar
themselves with Abdullah, the other brothers, since the time that we were going inside that ground zero. Si Abdullah yung kausap ng ating emissaries.
All right, and Abdullah himself was the one speaking and giving that adverse reaction nung pinag-usapan yung surrender. Did he also talk about Omar? Did he talk about their situation?
Well, there's no feedback on the other brothers, but we just focus on one that is having already aligned with our emissaries.
All right. Is there anything else you can share with us, sir, Asek Hermoso?
Well, we will try our very best under the peace corridor of the President that our volunteers and us from OPAP will, as much as possible, extract so many civilians still trapped inside the ground zero.
Well, we wish you luck, sir. Asek Dixon Hermoso, thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Especially the Marutao area.
Yes, I mentioned most likely. It doesn't mean it's confirmed. There are reports that Isnilon, Hapilon slip away. However, we are doing continuous validation. Okay. So anong impact nun eh? Kung tatakas yung leader mo, iiwan mo yung mga sundalo mo. So what will happen to your command and control? Yun lang explanation. Okay.
Yung kung sinabi nyo na there's a leadership issue, could it have been also instigated by the tribal differences? As you know, the Tausugs have come in. I mean, we were here 3 months ago, and I mean, even when we were calling, we already noticed the increased presence of Tausug civilians or residents living here. Do you think this may have contributed to the divide within the mountain leadership?
Precisely, merong impact ito, especially on the in terms of connectivity, no, familial ties. Remember, those involved Maute brothers are Maranao, and there is a huge clamor among the constituents of Maranao, our traditional leaders, our religious leaders, no, convincing these people to get out, convincing these people to surrender, because they are not only destroying Marawi City, but they are also destroying the heritage, the culture, and the next generations of Maranao people. So kung makikita mo doon, ang talagang nai-involved doon, there are Magindanaon, Tausug, Yakan, and they're not from here. So they don't care kung anong mangyari dito sa Marawi City. And these are the things that we are observing every day. Okay, those problems of communication, problems of discipline, problems of ideological perspective. Kasi yung kino-confront kasi natin dito, it's not a simple terror, it's a complex terrorist kasi because of the hybrid combination. Marami dito ang nalure sa pera. Marami dito ang prinamis ng leadership na pera. Okay? Kaya kung makikita natin, babalikan natin yung istorya, yung narrative, anong gagawin nila? Isisil off nilang Marawi City. They will loot, kukunin lahat nila ng kayamanan, and these are the promises. Ngayon, nagsisisi sila. Okay? Ang daming nagsisisi ngayon na mga taga Marawi, no? Because of what happened. Okay? Hindi nila na-foresee yung ganitong mangyayari.
You're in the newsroom on CNN Philippines tonight. The government says negotiations with Abdullah Maute are on a deadlock. The Transportation Department sees shorter travel time with the Manila-Clark Railway project's implementation. And boxing fans welcome People's Champ Manny Pacquiao for his upcoming fight with Jeff Horn in Australia. Good evening, I'm Mitzi Borromeo. We begin with this CNN Philippines exclusive. Presidential advisor on the peace process, Assistant Secretary Dixon Hermoso confirms imams or Muslim religious leaders spoke to one of the leaders of the Maute group, Abdullah Maute, during the humanitarian pause in military operations in Marawi City yesterday. In an interview with our chief correspondent, Pio Ontiveros, Hermoso said the emissaries talked about the possible release of trapped civilians and hostages, including Catholic priest Father Chito Soganub, who was abducted on May 23, the day Maute group attacked the city. But he said there was a deadlock in talks. Hermoso declined to detail the demands of the Maute group in exchange for the release. The assistant secretary also said the Maute leader had, quote, an adverse reaction when the possible surrender of the group was brought up in the discussions.
They were able to connect themselves with Abdullah, the other brothers, since the time that we were going inside that ground zero. Si Abdullah yung kausap ng ating emissaries. Yung pong kasing negotiation, very precarious because you're sending emissaries. Yung brand ng Islam nila is different from the brand of Islam of these terrorists. So nagkaroon po ng deadlock in the talks. We are trying our best na ma-soften yung position ng terrorists
Okay,
na
sir.
kinakausap natin. The focus is to get as much as we can, regardless kung ito ba sila Father Chito or the rest of those that are still in the hands of the Maute.
Okay.
When they get inside, is to ask and request the Maute to release hostages. And the second, if they are willing to be the bridge, para po kung gusto nilang sumuko or what else, yun po ang kanilang
Function.
guiding principle when they get inside.
Okay.
But nagkaroon po sila ng argumentong mainitan dahil hindi nga sila nagkaintindihan because iba nga ho yung brand ng Islam nung kabila at iba naman yung mga hostages natin.
Hermoso adds they hope there will be another humanitarian pause in the city to give way for further negotiations. The military says the Maute group's leadership is crumbling, but the terrorists are not yet giving up on their fight in Marawi. Camille Abadisho has the full story.
Maute terrorists continue to destroy and set buildings on fire inside Marawi City a day after the humanitarian pause. That's according to the military as they monitor more arson activities in the 4 barangays still held by the group. Dansalan College, a Catholic school, is one of the first few structures held and burned down by the Maute group. Omar Maute, one of the leaders of the terrorist group believed to have died in the conflict, graduated high school here. Minalang Barapantao, who used to be Omar Maute's teacher, says he is heartbroken after learning that his former student initiated the violence in Marawi.
We were really shocked sa school na ganun yung mangyari at una pa nilang na biktima yung eskwelahan na nagpaaral sa kanila, and yung mga teachers na tinuruan sila ng magandang asal.
Barapantaw adds Maute was a regular student, very athletic, and a platoon officer of the school's CAT. He says they never once thought Maute would turn out to be a terrorist.
He's just the silent type, mabait, walang problema. Lahat kami ng mga naging teachers na we were shocked na ganito yung nangyari sa kanya. Pero going back to his high school years, he was a very conscientious student. And in fact, I didn't realize that I was the one who made the yearbook wherein he described himself as religious and conservative.
The military says Maute Group's leadership is crumbling as others want to flee, and some are starting to regret their decision to join the conflict, especially the Maranao fighters.
Marami dito ang nalure sa pera. Marami dito ang prinamis ng leadership na pera. And these are the promises. Ngayon, nagsisisi sila.
Authorities say religious leaders are amplifying their call for the terrorists to lay down their weapons.
Those involved Maute brothers are Maranao. And there is a huge clamor among the constituents of Maranao, our traditional leaders, our religious leaders, convincing these people to get out, convincing these people to surrender.
35 days into the fighting, the military says the terrorist group is losing its positions, strategic movement, and morale. But every single day the fight moves closer to the center of action is yet another day of further destruction, not only of physical structures, but also the Maranao culture and heritage. In Marawi City, Camille Abadisio, CNN Philippines.
Reports received by the military say the supposed ISIS leader in the country, Isnilon Hapilon, has left the Maute group in Marawi City. Speaking to the source, Armed Forces Public Affairs Office Chief Edgar Arevalo points out reports from their sources indicate most of them have not seen Hapilon lately. Vice President Leni Robredo visits evacuees who fled the fighting in Marawi City. Although seen as the face of the opposition, she says she would rather help out in the administration's efforts to address the crisis instead of criticizing them. JC Gotinga has the story.
The four walls of this classroom now make up Omaira Candidato's world. She's been ailing with kidney failure for 2 years and needs dialysis every week. Ever since she and her family fled the war in Marawi City, she's missed 4 dialysis sessions. Now, her abdomen is bloated and she has a hard time breathing.
Talaga sir, dito na nahirapan ako kasi na yung itong higa namin matigas, na itong masakit yung likod ko. Tapos, yung palaging kinakay na yung mga dilata. Yung mga pansit. Siyempre po, yung kalusugan na hindi ma-imbalance yung nutrition.
They share this evacuation center in Balui, Lanao del Norte, with around 1,500 other people, also from Marawi City. Many evacuees are cut off from their livelihood, so they are struggling to survive. Those who are ill, like Omaira, can no longer afford treatment and medication.
Paano na yung mga kalusugan namin? Yung mga bata, hindi makapag-aral. Mabuti. Nawala yung education nila. Tapos na, pwede man sila mag-aral dito, pero natatakot kami na baka magbakwit ulit kami na mayawanan namin yung mga anak namin.
Vice President Leni Robredo visited the evacuees and she noted that their situation has improved from when she first visited, right after the fighting in Marawi began.
Kausap natin yung mga tao, steady supply naman yung pagkain. Nagpapasalamat tayo sa mga volunteers kasi maayos na maayos yung pamamalakad.
Robredo spoke with some of the evacuees, including Omaira. She promised to help with the hospital bills. The opposition figurehead declined to comment on the more controversial aspects of the Marawi crisis, like martial law. Instead, she emphasized the need for unity.
Hindi perpekto, pero kailangan pagtulungan natin lahat. Rather than mag-criticize tayo na mag-criticize, magtulungan na lang tayo kasi maraming pangangailangan talagang kailangan sagutin.
Her office has been giving out relief packages to evacuees. She met with local officials and the military for a briefing on the situation. In Iligan City, JC Gotinga, CNN Philippines.
Here are some top stories from around the world. At least 153 were killed Sunday in an oil tanker explosion in Pakistan. A police official told CNN the truck veered off the road when the driver lost control. Fuel began leaking out in large pools from the tanker. Hundreds of people from nearby villages rushed to collect the fuel in pots before the truck suddenly exploded. Officials say more than 100 were injured. It's still unknown what caused the wreck to ignite. A tourist boat sank in northwest Colombia. Efforts to find 31 people still missing were suspended overnight because of thunderstorms. At least 6 people died in Sunday's incident near the town of Guatape, roughly 45 kilometers east of Medellin, one of Colombia's biggest cities. 122 were rescued. A video on social media showed the boat tilting from side to side to another before sinking. One survivor says the vessel did not have life vests on board. And take a look at this video a passenger took on board an AirAsia X flight. Passengers had to endure turbulence for 2 hours during the flight to Kuala Lumpur from Perth, Australia on Sunday. The passenger said it was really shaky, very scary, and added the pilot asked passengers to pray twice. The plane returned back to Perth due to what the airline called a technical issue. Commuters from Central Luzon may soon expect faster land travel to Manila and vice versa. Also ahead, find out why today is a magical day for Harry Potter fans. Those and more stories coming up for you on CNN Philippines Newsroom. Good evening to those of you joining us on Facebook Live. Coming up for you in the next segment of the newsroom, we have a story for you on Eid al-Fitr and how Muslims are gathering on this special occasion. And we know that there's a lot of you are interested in our Marawi stories. And this particular occasion is also bringing hope to the Muslims who are, of course, worried about what is happening. And it's bringing hope to Muslims that peace will prevail in their communities. Lisa Hawkson has a report for us on that. Also, we have a story for you on martial law. Military historian Jose Custodio comments on this and explains why it should not be prolonged. So stay tuned for that. Also, another story, we will be looking at data from the Department of Health, talking about how the incidence of HIV is going up, and mostly amongst millennials. So stay tuned for many more stories coming your way. Now, let's see what some of you are saying on Facebook Live. We have our viewers greeting us from all over the world as usual, and we do like hearing from you. Watching from Washington State, that's Helen Bowen. Thank you for joining us. And Aya Makasampon is watching from Kuwait. From Cotabato, Monet Jane Clarito joins us. And also Harry Pulmones is watching from Pagadian City. And Claire Hinson Magtoto says, good evening from Angono, Rizal. Thank you to all for joining us. Charlene Bakulan says, good evening, CNN, watching from Taiwan. And she says she loves to watch CNN. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us and for your feedback also. And also, Poms Yapching and Arnie Resontok. Arnie, our colleague, is joining us. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining. We have John Bellarmino, who is watching from Malaysia in Port Kelang. And nearby, Joey Galvez is watching from Caningao in Sabah. And from the Bahamas, I think our first viewer we've heard from the Bahamas, Boyet Cosico et Pison says hello from there. And Boy Saluta is watching from Canada. Also watching from another viewer from Canada, Conrad Esguera Aguas. You also have Maria Rosario Cadiz says, very informative to the public of current issues. Thank you for joining us, and we're glad that you find the information you're interested in. And Manay Rose Pasis says, ciao from Arezzo, Italia. Thank you for joining us. And Rock Arnolf says he's watching from Bohol and is always updated on, live updates from here. And Claire Hinson Magtoto says she's praying for Marawi. I think many people always, every night we seem to get these messages. Of course, people are always worried about what's happening down there. And speaking of Marawi, we want to invite you to watch Inside Marawi tomorrow at 8 p.m. That's here only on CNN Philippines. And please continue to let us know where you're watching from and what you think of the stories. Please do stay tuned to the show until the end of Newsroom, and still more viewers sending messages of where they're watching from. Weiler Olores Jr. is watching from Qatar, and Marilu Rodriguez Numan Shuk. Thank you for your nice words. Emmanuel Ontiveros says, I'm watching with a tissue. I guess a lot of sad stories when we watch these stories about Marawi. Of course, very heartbreaking to see how the evacuees, the Bakwits, are dealing with the destruction there. Very devastating. Dudes Belbez says he's watching from Bahrain. And from Geneva, Switzerland, that we have Yon Messina. Yon says, thank you, CNN Philippines, for the objective and responsible news reporting. Please do continue to safeguard the dignity and prudence of journalism. Indeed, it is a tough job being in there. So we'll have more messages reading off here. Stay tuned. Room on CNN Philippines. The uncertain situation in Mindanao did not prevent Muslims from partaking in their celebration of Eid al-Fitr. Our stringer from Zamboanga City, Liza Hoxon, witnessed how prayers help Muslims remain hopeful that peace will prevail in their communities.
Days before Hari Raya, or the end of the month-long Ramadan, people crowd the market to buy the usual fare. Ladies gather in bazaars to buy their holiday garb. There's celebration in the streets despite the atmosphere of uncertainty in Muslim communities. Last Saturday, Muslims participated in the ceremony of moon sighting. It is a yearly gathering of religious leaders to determine the start of Hari Raya by sighting the crescent moon. It is also the grand iftar, or breaking of the fast, a rite of solidarity and unity among Muslims. But the celebration is now held indoors because of security concerns. Far from the battle zone in Marawi City, religious leaders are not taking any chances. With the crescent moon sighted last Saturday, there was jubilation as Hari Raya was declared on Sunday. Heavy rains greeted Eid al-Fitr in Zamboanga. Muslims did not mind the downpour as they gathered in mosques for the Eid prayers, proving that faith can be resilient in the face of danger. Liza Hoxon, CNN Philippines.
A military historian believes the declaration of martial law in Mindanao should not be prolonged. That, as groups say, a humanitarian crisis now prevails in Marawi City because of residents displaced by the government's fight against the Maute terrorists. Jose Antonio Custodio says it will take time to end urban warfare. Given a violation of the short 10-hour truce or so-called humanitarian pause, he explains a ceasefire with terrorists does not guarantee an end in the firefight. As the crisis drags on, Custodio believes the government cannot prolong military rule in Mindanao.
We do not want to get the military thinking that the civilian government is totally irrelevant. But if you extend it on and on and on and on and on, you risk tiring also the military. And the military does not like to get tired.
Meanwhile, peace advocate Isagani Abunda says martial law is not a quick fix to the Marawi situation. He points out the inability of past administrations to address the root cause has made it more difficult to find a peaceful solution to the problem. The government launched a railway project today that will connect Tutuban in Manila and Clark, Pampanga. It aims to cut travel time from the capital to Central Luzon by more than half. Rex Remito reports.
Marcelo Chan goes home frequently to Angeles City in Pampanga. He spends as much as 3 hours on the road because of heavy traffic.
Medyo naabala rin, siyempre. Kung minsan, kailangan mo makarating kagad sa pupuntahan mo.
With the government's Manila-Clark Railway project, Chan can reach his hometown in just 55 minutes.
Gusto ko lang ma-experience yung mapaiksi ang biyahe.
The Manila-Clark Railway is one of major infrastructure projects continued by the Duterte administration. The system, which will use the old Philippine National Railways line, begins in Tutuban and Solis in Manila, goes through the cities of Caloocan and Valenzuela, and the towns of Meycauayan, Marilao, Bocaue, Balagtas, Giginto, Malolos, and Kalumpit in Bulacan. It will end in Pampanga, going through Apalit, San Fernando, Angeles, Clark International Airport, and the proposed new Clark City. The railway will serve around 350,000 commuters per day in its first year of operation. The entire line will have 13 trains with 8 coaches per set. Trains will run at 120 kilometers per hour, more than the 100 kilometer per hour speed limit on the North Luzon Expressway. Economic managers were in full force during the marking of some stations.
Pag sinabi namin, minarkahan namin ito yung istasyon, ang ibig kong sabihin yan, wala nang urungan.
The construction of Manila-Clark Railway project will begin within the last 3 months of the year. Barring delays, the railway system could begin operating by 2020.
Hindi ho namin tatapusin yung procurement at bidding para magsimula.
Government may partially operate the system as soon as construction per section is complete. Some regular commuters to Pampanga, like Rovi Anyate, welcomes the railway project. And she's hoping the trip will be affordable.
Sana mas cheaper yung pamasahe doon.
Rex Remitio, CNN, Philippines.
Data from the health department show more people tested positive for the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, most of them millennials. In April this year alone, 629 persons were diagnosed HIV positive. 190 of these cases involved 15 to 24-year-old individuals. 323 cases belong to the 25 to 34-year-old age bracket. A big portion of those who tested positive are men who acquired the disease through sex. This month alone, 17 people died of HIV. Advocacy group The Red Whistle says sex education, especially among the youth, is important to know the risks of acquiring the disease. And it believes discussion should start at home.
Kaya pababa rin ng pababae yung age ng apektado kasi nga it's taboo to talk about sex even, and to go to a next level about HIV it's even more hard.
The Red Whistle also encourages the public to learn more about sexually transmitted diseases to curb the spread of HIV and AIDS. Heart disease is among the top causes of death in the Philippines. The rapid rise of cardiovascular diseases in the country fuels the passion of cardiologist Fabio Enrique Posas to bring a revolutionary yet less invasive treatment to address it. This week on Profiles, I sat down with him to talk about empowering the next generation of doctors and why his profession is truly an adventure.
It's about finding ways of new ways of treating these patients, and there are two stated goals in treatment. One is prolongation of life, but it's also an issue of quality of life. That is a good endpoint, and therefore we shouldn't give those patients up. Medicine is becoming less and less invasive, and being able to teach these, pass these technologies on to the incoming generations of physicians is very, very important.
We're used to taking risks and doing these super complex procedures. You can call it almost living on the edge, keeping your inner core really strong.
Get to know more about the architect, engineer, and plumber of hearts, Dr. Enrique Posas, on Profiles Wednesday night at 9:30, only here on CNN Philippines. Boxing champ Manny Pacquiao is gearing up for his biggest fight yet in the land down under. Also ahead, a look at some members of Batch 2017 that made a statement during their graduation ceremonies. CNN Philippines Newsroom will be right back. Good evening to you on Facebook Live. Stay tuned until the final segment of Newsroom. We still have more stories for you. Among them, any Potterheads out there? Well, it is 20 years since Harry Potter was published, and we will let you know what fans are saying and how they're celebrating around the world. Apparently, Harry Potter 20 is the top trending hashtag on Twitter around the world. Now let's see what some of you are saying on Facebook Live. Alia Gabriel Rolf says she's watching from Europe. And Lorna Garrido Tajonera says, thanks for the updates. We pray for peace. Well, thank you for watching and joining us here. Also, Christian Ivan Requinta says, thank you for the late night news updates. Appreciate it, and more power to you and the whole CNN Philippines family. Thank you very much, Ivan. We appreciate your comments. And thank you for watching. Jaime Jose says, stop the hate. That is what religion is all about. And we also have, Winnie Ching says hello. Hello to you also. Hugo Sierra is watching from Hong Kong, and Kemi Kalagi is watching us from Saudi Arabia. And let's take a look at President Duterte's first year in office in the eyes of his own officials. Please make sure to watch CNN Philippines' town hall, moderated by our chief correspondent, Pia Ontiveros. Watch it via Facebook Live. That's on Wednesday, June 28 at 3 p.m. And the telecast is on June 30, Friday at 8 p.m. Let's see more comments and greetings on Facebook Live. Jay Palomar Gloria says hello, watching from Riyadh. And we also have, Wow, I can't. There's many long messages here that... Katrina Amore Monterico Madarang says, I pray for the innocent lives that have been taken and the people who are still suffering right now due to the Marawi terror attack. Also, Ga M. Peralta says, nice job, CNN. Well, we're glad that we're able to bring you information that you like. And thank you for watching. And we continue to work hard to earn your trust. Erickson Reyes is watching from Dubai, and Justin Agmata says he's watching from Valenzuela City, and Akosi Juliet is watching from Ohio in the USA. And Carlo Murillo Prieto is watching from Cebu City, and Jennifer Haravata is watching us from Spain. Wonderful to see you all joining us from all continents. Chris Madura is watching from Ireland, and we have also okay, I think I read that already, sorry. Barry Noynay is watching from, says good evening from Qatar. And from San Jose, California, we have Capeta Mendoza. Viewer from Florida, Melvi Adeline Reyes, says, God bless our soldiers. And also, Ariel Serino says, good evening from South Korea. And we also have Mario Resabal, who is watching from General Santos City. And also from Jensen, Nanette Corpus says she's joining us from there. And Mr. Dins Arth says, hi CNN, watching here from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. We do have a lot of viewers from there. Thank you to all of you for joining us. And from Leduc, Alberta, I believe this is in Canada, that's Elijah Snow Gillian. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for all your greetings and for letting us know what you think of the stories. And remember, for more stories, please do visit us at cnnphilippines.com and do stay tuned until the end of the show. I think I still have time to read a few more greetings here. Ann Militante Tompkins is watching from Memphis, Tennessee. I think you've joined us here on Facebook Live in the past. And Carlos Bonilla is watching from Puerto Rico. Thank you for watching. Also now from Obando, Bulacan, Tony Dakles watches us from there. Another viewer from Vancouver, Canada, Nerfe Manzi. And we also have, for watching from Iligan, Nats Jan, I hope I said that right. And Eden John Loksin is watching from Azerbaijan. And also another viewer from Saudi Arabia, Kemi Kalagi, watching from Saudi Arabia. And Lorna Mota Insha says, thanks CNN sa mga updates, watching from Greece. Thank you very much again for your comments and letting us know where you're watching from. Join us until the end of the show. Welcome back. Boxing legend Manny Pacquiao is now in Australia as the land down under prepares for its biggest fight night yet. Pacquiao will put his welterweight title on the line against Jeff Horn on July 2nd. Fans in Brisbane welcomed Pacquiao and his trainer Freddie Roach over the weekend. The 38-year-old boxing champion may be the overwhelming favorite against Horn, but Roach insists Pacquiao is not underestimating his opponent. Catch more sports updates with Miko Halili on Sports Desk later at 10. Today is a magical day for Harry Potter fans. The story of the boy who lived turns 20. 2 decades ago today, author J.K. Rowling finally published Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, known in the U.S. and in some parts of the world as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That's after receiving multiple rejections from publishers. Netizens celebrate the occasion. This one thanks Rowling for, quote, creating a story that means so much to so many people everywhere. The hashtag HarryPotter20 is the top trending topic on Twitter worldwide tonight. Facebook also joined the fun in marking the milestone. Whenever you mention the word Harry Potter and the 4 Hogwarts houses, a special animation will appear on the scene. And before we go, this year's graduates from different colleges and universities in the country celebrate their special day in their own unique way. In this report, our Ruth Cabal tells us how some of them made a mark.
In iAcademy Makati, multimedia arts and design students have this annual gimmick to customize their toga caps with creative artworks. From dragons, to Pokemon, to unicorns, flowers, barkada initials, witty taglines, or even inspirational quotes. These kids are sure to have a colorful future ahead. Meanwhile, in the University of the Philippines, sports science graduate Noelyn Jane Figueroa just did a fitting farewell for her graduation rites. Instead of the traditional paluan by UP Pep Squad drummers, she chose to do a bird front toss, a famous cheering stunt to cap off her cheerleading and college life. Noelyn was part of the UP Pep Squad team that won back-to-back UAAP cheerleading titles from 2011. Pinoy Big Brother Teen Edition winner Myrtle Sarosa also inspired her fans. She graduated not only with a broadcast communication degree, but also with a cum laude honor after studying for 6 years.
Always work hard to achieve your dreams. Kasi if you guys work hard and do your best, mararating nyo kahit ano man yan.
She is joined by Venus Ra, who graduates with a master's degree in community development.
It's how you relate with other people, how you treat people, even if people who are not in a community where you want to serve, but the people that you interact with every day.
2 of UP's summa cum laudes this year were making waves on social media last week after being tagged as a couple, but they clarified they're just friends.
I guess some people misinterpret it kasi like kami magkasama.
Dapat po nagtutulungan para po sa pag-achieve ng ating goals para rin po matulungan yung bayan.
But fake news or not, it's national unity that matters, says molecular biology graduate and batch 27 valedictorian Arman Ali Godsinya.
Underneath all our external differences, we're all just made up of the same molecules that aggregated to form a human body.
Ruth Cabal, CNN Philippines.
And that's a newsroom for you this evening. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Thank you for watching. Good night.